On to a more somber note now for our artist spotlight today. Tributes continue to pour in for the late legendary broadcaster Bob Mabena, who died of a heart attack at the age of 51. Now, his memorial was held on Thursday in Johannesburg ahead of his funeral service, which will take place at around 12:30 today. Mabena worked in radio and broadcasting since 1989 at institutions such as the SABC, Kaya FM, and Power FM. He was also the first black co-host on High Fault Stereo, which is now known as 94.7. Bob Mabena's sudden death left family, friends, and fans shocked. Former colleagues and friends of Nothemba, Madumo, and Cody Roberts join us virtually to reflect on the life and times of the legend. Well, Cody, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us here on Weekend Dawn. I think I'm going to start off with you. I mean, ultimately, how did you meet Bob Mabena? What are some of your favorite memories that you can rehash about his life and times?
Good morning, Lizo. How did I meet Bob? I met Bob Mabena at a Metro FM party, and he was a big kid. He was just always happy. He was just, you know, he fills up a room with warmth and love, and he didn't have to know you, but you felt as if he was a relative. He was a beautiful human being. He lived very well. And all he did was just smile and just give love and give me loads of encouragement, because I went into Kaya with no experience, and he was very, very patient with me. And and all I did was just take pictures of him and just learn from him. He was an incredible human being, and I'm very, very grateful for his generosity.
Now, you were a colleague, as you mentioned, at Kaya FM with him for about 7 years. I mean, what are some of the tips and tricks that you picked up from him? Also, just looking at his impact on the industry at large, how would you culminate that as part of his legacy to date?
I think that he was never on a high horse. He was never on a pedestal. He never saw himself as a don, which is what he was. He was eager to teach. He had a passion for radio, which obviously I have now as well. And I think I'm now also a Sundown fan. I've taken over his spot. He loved his music and the discipline. The man was never late, so which meant that when I was late, I felt bad. He was so disciplined, and also the love and the commitment to all those children, you know. I mean, we used to laugh about the fact that he had 300 children, but he loved them, and he was there for them, and he was there for aftercare, and he was there to take them to different extracurricular activities. He was committed. He was a committed dad, and also one of the legacies that I'd like to remember him by is his insistence on the protection of women. You know, he was very, very against gender-based violence, and we used to have many activations which were his ideas, and he was very creative. He was always creative. I mean, he's been on radio for so long, but the man was always finding ways to be more entertaining, more informative. I mean, I remember him arriving in Kaya in a wheelchair to show that you know, spaces need to be inclusive to everyone, you know. So he was absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, him singing with Lady Smith's Lady Smith. Sorry, I'm still in shock. I've been mourning the entire week. And I just remember him singing with Lady Smith in Compton studio. He was just he was creative. He was absolutely incredible. I've lost a brother. I'm absolutely shattered.
And Cody, I actually wanted to just, you know, conclude your tribute that you're paying to him today by asking where you were on Monday when you found out about the news. How has it impacted your life? I mean, as his funeral service is set to take place today, I mean, what emotions are running through you?
It's just disbelief, it's shock, it's denial, I don't know what it is. I'm glad I met this amazing man, and I'm in shock that he's no longer with us. But I know that he's in a better place because of this cruel world and COVID, and he's smiling at all of us right now. I'm looking at this picture, the last picture that we took, that Kaya gave us when departed, and he's just smiling, the same expression, He's just, just full of love.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Cody Roberts, thank you for joining us this morning. Wishing you strength, in fact, to you, to all the friends and family at large. I'm also going to bring in Nothemba Madumo. Of course, she was also a close friend and colleague who worked with the late Bob Mabena. Nothemba, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I dare say good morning. On this somber note, just looking at the life and times of the late Bob Mabena, looking at his impact on the industry at large, some of your favorite memories, how you met him. What is your experience and how will you remember him as a friend and former colleague?
Lizo, thank you and good morning, my dear. Funny enough, I got a message just this morning, Kakana, who also passed away around this time last year in August. And she just reminded me of the very same emotions of going through losing someone that you've worked with over the years and been close to. With Bob Mabena, I met him obviously when he arrived in Mabato, because I was working on Bob TV and on radio as well. And like you're asking me, how do I remember him? I just remember this always laughing and smile, and a person who's full of love and who was very eager to learn and really get into the industry and succeed. And he did that because it was a whole lot of firsts for him on radio, on television, and also just learning how to cope with this industry. That means not only are you, a famous person, but there are these people that love you. And I think more importantly for me is what he stood for as a role model, because a lot of young people absolutely admired him and wanted to be like him. And the things that they can remember about him is the fact that, as many have said, he was a very loving person. He cared about those that are underdogs. He cared about this country. He cared about the suffering. I'm even thinking now, it's the weekend that we are commemorating Marikana.
Yeah.
He would have had a lot to say. It would have been things that he would be sad about. And he really wanted, change in this country. And he stood for something and was not in this career just to be famous, because he was very even humble about that. But, he wanted change. And I think we should remember him by that and also pursue this very change that he was about.
Nothemba Madumo, thank you very much for joining us a Weekend Dawn. Of course, Nothemba joined Kuli Roberts, just paying homage to Bob Mabena, the late Bob Mabena, ahead of his funeral, which is set to take place this afternoon around midday today.